And we're back. It's your boy, Edwardo Jackson, CEO, founder, creator of the Cinema Draft and DraftStream games, here with one of our most illustrious guests. You know him as the Canadian Occupation, the Canadian Invasion, the Canadian Sensation. It's the one and only Jaybird. What's going on, Jason?
Not too much. How you doing?
Hey, doing all right, doing all right. And you're over in Ontario, right?
Yeah, but like 2 hours from Toronto, so pretty close.
Okay,
there.
Fair enough. And I'm sure you've noticed we have a fellow Canadian in the mix as well, Henner YYZ, also a bit of a game theory aficionado who's learning his way through these cinema draft stream streets. So we're glad to have you on here, and just we just want to kibitz a little bit on your process and the game. So let's just start by telling each other how we know each other. How do we know each other, Jaybird?
Oh man, I don't even remember what year it is. Maybe you can fill me on what year it was, but I think we met at
2010, maybe.
2010.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, sounds about right. Yeah. We went to like a poker boot camp in Las Vegas to learn tournament poker from Ari Engel and the Maven.
Yeah,
and I think they were pretty focused. This was kind of like just after the poker boom, a little bit later, but it was still pretty soft back then, and we were learning how to crush poker back then. And I think you and I were I think we kind of had some of the best results of that group and kind of hit it off there. And I think
your results were insane though. I mean, like, what was that Full Tilt tournament? You got second out of 50,000 people, the little big something.
The big little big tournament, $2, 54,000 people. I think it was over in 6 hours, 6 or 7 hours. It was over in $10,000 or something like that in my pocket. I think like within the first week or two after the boot camp, I had 2 or 3 $10,000 scores. So Jeez. Yeah, I definitely ran hot. Those were the good days.
Yeah, those were the good days. Softer, a lot less information sharing, a lot less videos. It wasn't Twitch. Twitch didn't exist back then, I don't think.
No, there's no Twitch. I remember after that boot camp, maybe it was before or after, I paid Ari Engel because he was living in Toronto for a bit. Mm-hmm. It must have been after the boot camp. I think I was in Toronto visiting my mother, and I paid him like $100 just to sit behind him and to watch him play a Sunday session because there's no Twitch. That was the only way to see pros play. But,
good point. Yeah, no, and you, I mean, I don't know if I had like the best results. You definitely had one of the best results, but I was definitely one of the most dedicated. That was my out. We're talking the tail end of the recession. I was back living home with Ma. It was terrible. I lost my house, lost my car. It was terrible. And I saw this poker thing. I'm like, oh, this is pretty good. Saw all these soft games. Oh, they're pretty soft. World-class training. Oh, let's train up. And then Black Friday happens. But then, Maven invited me to live down there in Vegas and train with them. And when the online poker Kobe Bryant invites you to come live and train with them, you go. So that's how I got started on that. But so
I do remember you being like really dedicated. You had like any 2 cards. That was what was that?
We had a crew. We had a crew. I don't think we had a gang sign per se, but ATC, the any 2 crew. Any 2 cards, we can beat you, baby. Yeah. Oh, I kind of missed that. I kind of missed those days. But yeah, it was really, heady days. Guess we're almost a decade younger and all sort of stuff. But it was cool because that really showed me like not only how good of a poker player you are, but how good a game theorist you are. Because 4 years later, when I came along with the idea for Cinema Draft, I needed to test out the game mechanics in a similarly cumbersome spreadsheet form. You were like, yeah, I'll mess around with it, especially throw a little money up there or whatever and see how to kick the tires and stuff. You're really instrumental in helping us get that together. So I appreciate you coming back again for seconds with DraftStream. What are your thoughts on the DraftStream game so far?
Oh, I love it. Like, I'm definitely like a math and logic guy. That's what drew me to poker. That's what drew me to this. Like I did my MBA, and the courses that I loved doing my MBA were always the ones where you dive into spreadsheets and use analytics and logic to figure out stuff. So this was like right up my alley. So when I saw you started this, I was like, oh, I think I can use some strategies to maybe beat some people in this game. So it was definitely my jam. I enjoyed it.
No, it was great. And not only, because not only were we still trying to, and this whole entire process, everyone who's watching, who has played and stuff, first of all, a sincere thank you. I mean, the game that we started off with back in April looks, totally different than the game we have today. We could only have done it with your help and through, your relentless iteration, experimentation, and your data. So I thank you for your data this week and every week. And I really have been I wouldn't say like amazed, but encouraged by how serious, some people take it. I mean, like between you, Gamble 24x7, and Brown Baby, aka the Draft Mom. I mean, you guys like really put some real, brain power in it. She may not always have the results, but as we saw that one week, she did win, and she's very proud of that. And she's, now a top 5 threat. So I do really appreciate how seriously you guys have thought about the game and considered the game, because it's definitely helped make me a better game maker, and it's definitely helped the game in general as we get within a month or two of getting a web app up, have like a really solid game that everyone can enjoy playing.
Yeah, well, while we're thanking people, I'm sure Gamble X 24/7 and the other guys, we appreciate you running this, and also the money you're putting up there, because like I enjoy this, but also the money kind of justifies the time that I put into there. So we definitely appreciate you doing this and putting up that little bit of money to make it worthwhile to put the research in. And so I thank you for running this. I enjoy it.
Oh, well, thanks. And actually, thanks for letting me know that this tactic of just putting some money up, it does help. And I do, time is definitely a finite resource. So yeah, I'm very much about fair market value. And if, you can, steal $50 off some losers like ourselves, on an hour, half hour a week, do it. This is great. This has been great.
Yeah, no, it's perfect. I enjoy it.
Yeah. So when you first saw like DraftStream, what strategy, what can you share? What do you feel comfortable sharing without giving up your competitive edge? What general thought pattern did you employ when you first saw like the DraftStream game, as far as like the way to get your arms around solving the game?
Well, so back when it started with Cinema Draft, I hadn't come up with the idea of using a solver at that point. I kind of just looked at all the different teams or all the teams, all I'm used to sports. Looked at all the
DFS. No, this is DFS for the movie. So yeah, go for it.
Yeah, no, it was more research at that point. I just said, okay, let's figure out what the current point structure is for every single actor right now. Put that in a spreadsheet, and then try and figure a way just to who is the highest expected points, and start with the highest number and fill in a roster that way. But then I quickly realized, well, if I start with the highest point one and just go down from there, I'm probably leaving money on the table, just like fantasy sports, where there's probably an optimal lineup that you could do a little bit better than that. And that's when I remembered from my NBA training, hey, there's this tool that can optimize lineups. And I know fantasy sports uses it, that's built into websites, but I could do that in a spreadsheet. So that was the next step, was to say, okay, now I got to do the numbers for everyone. And now I got to build a formula inside a spreadsheet to figure out what's the optimal way to put all these there. But that being said, I don't want to make it sound like there's like I put everything in a spreadsheet, I press one button and I have the perfect lineup. It's not really that simple. You have to take it to a next step and say, okay, there's a bunch of missing scores in here. You got to figure out where these scores going to move. So I would say that like the solver or the optimizer is the first step, and then there's a bunch of steps that follow after that, where you kind of got to put your own personal spin on the lineups and figure out where everything's going to move at the end of the week.
Yeah, that's a good point. And also one thing a couple tactics, which, I've spent some time coaching, Brown Baby, the Draft Mom up, and I'm very pleased with her progress, I might add. The one thing I was telling her is one thing you can do with these contests every week, after you've made your own copy of the sheet, you can essentially, it takes some time, but you can aggregate the data. I told her, look, this is what I do when I'm playing. I'm still trying to win, even though obviously I can't or shouldn't win any money. But I go and find all the available scores listed possible, sort them out and spread them out there, sort it, and then for me, it's more of like a eyeball value situation, issue. There was that one week I used a solver, which is interesting. I'm always experimenting with the game and stuff. And I think I tied for first, whatever. It was interesting. And it's not to say that, you can't win without solver, because obviously Brown Baby won a week, so, there is always going to be, an element of randomness when it comes to these type of games, but it's helpful to have a process. And that's what I think I really appreciated once I found out or figured out that you were using, a solver as well, is that you have a process, that this is skills, that these are skill-based games. We don't gamble. Maybe you do gamble. I don't gamble. We're professionally trained poker players. We are skill players. And I think bringing that kind of mentality to this game, especially once we get a web app up and we start to scale up, is going to be very instructive for people who want to get good at the game.
Yeah, like we see the same players kind of finishing at the top, so that kind of is proof in the pudding right there that there definitely is a skill element. It's not just gambling. So yeah, the more time you put into it, the more research you put into it. Like I probably put each week, it's probably close to an hour, hour and a half I put into it to get my lineups. Sometimes longer, sometimes last week I don't have any time, so there's no lineups. But yeah, it's definitely a skill game.
Yeah, and Gamble 24x7 is on record saying that he doesn't use a solver. He just, spends about an hour doing the research.
Does he believe that? I don't know. I've
No,
seen some of his lineups.
G24, the homie, I believe. I actually believe he's actually. I've never met him personally. We know people in common because he's also Vegas based, and I think he's like a stud player.
Okay.
Like he plays like mixed games and stuff. So I tend to believe it, and and you never know. But even still, having a process is very crucial to playing the game well. And even still, what I've found I like the most about the game is that it really has opened my eyes to all the great content that's out there, especially during these pandemic times, these lockdown times. I mean, people complain that there's either nothing to watch or too much to watch, and I agree. It was kind of both at the beginning. Now that I'm in the beast of it, it's just too much to watch. I mean, every week there's about 5 different titles I want to watch, and I started a list. I haven't been bored since sophomore year in high school, anyways, but I'll never be bored from here on out. There's way too much good stuff that's out there that I want to watch.
You gotta share that list with me because I'm always wondering what should my next show be or which movie. You should share. You should make a public IMDb list or something.
Oh, let me
Edwardo's picks or cinema draft picks, something like that.
That's some good content marketing. All right, Jay. Look, I can't afford you as a consultant, Jaybird. List of that's not bad. Well, part of the curation, and I mean, I guess we can go into slight cultural cul-de-sac, as I like to say around here. One of the things that I have talked about with business people or people who are into trends and things of that nature is that whereas data is kind of like the gold mine of the I guess the tens, with everyone's data being accessible or whatever, or being on offer. I think of the 20s, it's going to be curation because now we have too much data. So whoever figures out the best applications or programs or systems that curates data for us are going to be rich. Like the people, like you can see right now, Amazon, they basically curate. They supply, but they also largely curate third-party vendors into one place, and they, optimize it so you don't even know what you want before they know what you want. And so all these, we're going to see, systems of curation that are really going to be helpful to get us through all this, all these reams of data. And why can't Cinema Draft be one of them? I mean, I can see, it's not exactly part of the business plan per se, but I can see a day where, because we only have, say, 30 slots, 30 titles we can do a week or whatever, I can see people trying to bribe us to get up in there. Warner Brothers, Paramount, hey, we'll pay extra for a premium slot. I actually thought we'll have like maybe a premium slot of the week. Someone kicks out, I don't know, 10, 20, 100 grand, whatever week to be in the talent pool because we're curating what you need to watch,
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I've used your list of picks to sometimes when I'm researching the scores. I'm like, oh, I never even heard of that one, and then I see it on your list, and maybe I'll watch it, and maybe I won't. But it's kind of reminds me. You talk to me like curating data. It's kind of like that Netflix. Do they still have it? Or they had a competition where they're trying to get people to basically improve their algorithm on how to recommend the next movie to them? I know like years ago they had that competition, but I don't know if they still are looking for that.
I haven't heard about that recently, but sounds like a good idea. Crowdsource, your innovation. Why not? I mean, I know they are crowdsourcing content. Like they're asking for specific genres, like each month it's like a new specific genre of scripts. Because I still fancy myself a writer here and there, so I kind of peek at that stuff. But no, I haven't heard about that. It's kind of interesting. I did watch like a Netflix documentary. I had it on my third monitor while I was doing cinema draft work about like the how Netflix came to be and its rise and all sort of stuff. The wars of Blockbuster. It was pretty interesting. It's on Amazon, ironically. this video.
Yeah.
Yes. Well, what's a title that you've watched that you probably wouldn't have otherwise seen had it not been for DraftStream?
It was kind of on my radar, but I think it kind of convinced me to watch it. And one I just finished last night was Raised by Wolves.
Yo,
I really enjoyed that. I liked it.
I'm not all done yet. I'm through 8. I'm through she finds out that her android thing is pregnant or whatever. I'm through
Oh
that.
yeah.
Yeah. So hold
It
on.
has a slow start. Those first few episodes are a little bit slow, but I just watched episode 10 and it goes, yeah, it goes to like an 11. It just the last episode, shit just hits the fan. So stick with it. It's good.
No, I'm in because I mean, I'm not always like dark, hard sci-fi, but I do like. I am a bit of a futurist. I always have been since a kid. I used to get like popular mechanics and stuff, and then turn to the innovations, section, whatever. So I am kind of in on weird visions of the future and the whole android thing, raising human babies and
Oh yeah,
children.
I love it.
This is fascinating. And Ridley Scott directed the first 3 episodes, so I was in. I'm in. It's just a matter of figuring out when I can slot all this stuff in because there's some interesting stuff I wanted to watch this weekend. I did give Emily in Paris a go. It's terrible. I'm so disappointed. I'm so disappointed. I love Darren Star. It's just bad. And then that's when, and I was doing laundry last night, so that's when I reverted back to the final 3 episodes I still have, 8, 9, and 10 of Raised by Wolves. So
So give me a recommendation. If I like sci-fi, I like Raised by Wolves. So what should my next show be? Any recommendations?
Okay, sci-fi. Huh. Oh, duh, Away. Have you seen Away?
No, I haven't seen Away. Away and Utopia were on my maybe list.
Yeah, no. Away is on your must list. This is, I mean,
it's
it's not hard sci-fi. It's like, I mean, it's sci-fi, but it's like practical sci-fi. This is like they're doing like a manned mission to Mars as if it was like it feels like it can't be more than 10 years away because all the stuff they're using feels like stuff we would use today. Like they don't have a ton of like futuristic set dressing or anything. It feels like this could happen like 5 years from now. And it's a really solid drama. It's from the guys who did Parenthood and Friday Night Lights. Another great Jason Katims. And they just know how to do drama. They really know how to do drama. It's not like hard R or anything, but it's realistic. It's just it's kind of an elevated down the middle, if that makes any sense. This will hit most quadrants, but it's done in a really it's smart about what it does, and it respects its audience, but it's not too hard sci-fi. It's just really well done drama. There'll be a moment at the end of the pilot where they'll be tugging at your tear ducts, man. I'm telling you.
I saw some tweets about this. I was like, it was a bunch of family drama in the middle of like a sci-fi series, but I think I'd still like it. Check it out.
No, it's good. And they use a bunch of like well, it's not even so much practical effects, but they use a bunch of actual practical science. Like, because there are times when you're like, okay, they're doing this in this part of the mission. Is that real? And then, or did that really happen? Then you kind of Google, you're like, oh, that really happened. So yeah, it's reality-based.
I love Interstellar, where they use like real world consequences that made it into the movie there.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. So that's this is, I don't know if it's got like the gold stamp approval of Neil deGrasse Tyson, but I haven't heard him talk shit about it yet. So that's got to be good. Cool. So yeah, I was just Away, and I too have yet to see Utopia. It was on the edge of my current list, but I think it's moving up. I'm intrigued. I hear it's like very conspiracy theory-ish, which doesn't bother me, but it's like, if we're kind of living in at least in America, I don't know how y'all are dealing. Y'all obviously are dealing far better up there. You guys have CERB and everything. You guys are doing great. But down here, I mean, it's like a conspiracy theory a minute. So I'm not sure if I'm really ready for all that, but I'm curious. So I'm probably going to check it out.
I'll wait for you to watch it, and you can tell me whether it's worthwhile.
Yeah, well, that's what's up, and yeah, and also, I'm not sure if you lurk in there or not, but in the group chat, we're also very complimentary, we're very complimentary of shows, and we recommend stuff all the time. So if I do find something I like, I definitely stick it in there.
You have to send me the link to that group chat. I haven't been in at least a year, so.
Oh yeah, I got you. Yeah, it's open to all. Yeah, I'll get you the link to that. It's kind of quiet right now. But and as I say that, looks like Henry Roan, aka Henry G, Flesh and Blood, maybe another United Kingdom band. Okay, interesting. So we're still kind of talking strategy in there sometimes. Definitely recommending stuff. I remember when I saw one of the funniest comedies I saw all year, that what's it called? Tijuana Jackson, Purpose Over Prison. Yo, I could not shut up about that movie in the group chat. It was great. Are you familiar with Tijuana Jackson?
No, I haven't seen. I don't even think I've seen a trailer for that. No.
Yeah, find yourself a trailer. This shit. I mean, it looked like it was going to be It could have gone so bad. It really could have. And it turns out Romney Malco, it's a face you've seen in a lot of stuff. He's in Weeds. He's on,
Oh, Weeds, yeah.
yeah, he's on, what's that show? A Million Little Pieces or something. A Million Little Things. That thing.
My wife watches that one.
Yeah, yeah, right. Another family drama or whatever I have yet to get into, but it could have gone so bad, but it's really funny and good. I guess the story behind it is that they Indiegogo'd the financing behind it, because I'm watching on a Friday night, I'm tweeting about it, and Mitsula, the poker guy from Vegas, he hits me back. It's like, yeah, I contributed to that Indiegogo. I'm like, oh, that thing was independently financed. Like, it's wild, but it's a lot of fun. I highly recommend that. That's probably one of the movies I never would have known about had I not been researching for the talent pool or whatever. And so it's just one of the things. It is one of my selling points when I approach investors about cinema draft, what have you. But it's real, though. It's real. Finding new stuff you didn't know it's out there that you like is a real big part of the cinema draft experience. So I appreciate you and everyone who's helped us support that. I really do. It's been great.
Yeah, awesome.
Any final words of advice or warning or challenges you want to throw out there to the people for the game? I'm sure you'll be with us next week. We've got some rising stars coming up trying to compete for the throne. Anything you want to say to the Cinema DraftStream community?
I don't know, put more lineups in. I see some people just doing 1 or 2 lineups. Why not throw 3 in? More lineups, the better, more competition. I enjoy it. So get your lineups in there. If you have time, put more research in there, kind of check the scores of all the lineups if you have time. I know with 25, that week that I won before the week before last, or I guess last week. Yeah, I didn't even use the solver on that one. I know you're skeptical, but I didn't have time to use the solver on that one. 25 was just too many, so I picked the ones that had good value in them and just went with those. So yeah, look for good value and put all 3 lineups in.
Well, and actually, I'm personally not skeptical. They may be skeptical. I know for a fact you did not use a solver, because I had trouble finding a solver that could handle that much data. And so, I mean, it may be a different story moving forward, but that week it was pure talent. So, we'll give you your flowers. You did your thing. Jaybird, the Canadian domination once again. We appreciate some good competition around here. And yeah, so Jaybird wants you to put in more call sheets. All right.
Bring it.
How about the king with more call sheets? Damn it! And yeah, and I love the competition that's spread up between you and Gamble 24x7. Now $100 separates you guys from all-time DraftStream money lead. But what I want to see from you, Jaybird, is that when we do get the web app up, I want to see you playing the game, button clicking, what have you, and putting all your good knowledge to work. Rumor has it we may even have downloadable CSVs. All right, we listened to you guys first time. We may even have downloadable CSVs. So We'll handle that for you.
Yeah, I'll be there once you get the app going. Absolutely, I'll be there.
Good stuff. Yeah, because we missed you once we got up and running. I know you had I think a kid on the way or something. Work got busy, so I respect it. But yeah, we love having you in the community. Love the competition, and we just love good gameplay around here. So appreciate you, and thanks for your time, Jaybird.
Thanks for having me.
Yeah, good stuff. And everybody, we apologies for not having a full-length Cinema Draft podcast this week. Some idiot did not press the record button. That's on me. But we'll be back on Wednesday with another great top 5 with another great guest. Thanks for watching, everybody. Thanks for playing. And we'll see you all in the spreadsheets. Okay.